Thank you so much, everyone, for joining today. This is a gathering, a little celebration of everyone who is a part of the 52 Hike Challenge. I know there are thousands of participants every year. So we clearly don't have thousands of us here, but whoever is here, I'm here to celebrate you and those who are going to watch afterwards. We're celebrating you too. My name is Carla Amador. I'm the founder of the 52 Hike Challenge. Um, I know that some of you know my story, some of you don't. I'll just give you a quick little spiel. Back in 2012, I was in a really dark place. I was going through a divorce. I was really depressed. Um, and I had this vision. I meditate a ton, and I had this vision come through in my meditation of me being outside, traveling, and specifically going to the top of Machu Picchu and being healed physically, spiritually. Um, I was not a hiker at the time. And as fate would have it, a year later, I met my co founder who I started 52 with. And he was an avid mountaineer. And so we started hiking together. And in 2014, I just said, you know what? I'd like to hike once a week for a year, not thinking much of it, just set it as a goal. But it was absolutely transformative, life changing, and so deeply powerful that I wanted to share that story with people struggling and suffering and going through a really difficult time because nature and hiking truly is such an incredible healer. And lo and behold, I completed the 52 hikes in 2014. I went ahead and decided to go do Mount Whitney. And for those of you that are familiar, it's the tallest mountain in the lower 48. And it's quite a feat. And the 52 really allowed me to train for something like that, physically speaking. But I think the 52 was so much more. It's a spiritual, emotional transformation that you go through because you realize that you are so much stronger than you realize when you do something like this. When you set a big goal for yourself, that first sounds scary and you overcome that and you do it for yourself, right? Like there's something so deeply powerful. So I got a logo made. I decided, to share the story, and lo and behold, it's become a worldwide movement. We've had over 75,000 registered participants. Um, but the ripple effects of that are definitely in the hundreds of thousands, if not millions by now, because, it's gone on to help create other communities that have come from 52. So I think the message is really, truly just we're all in love with nature. We're all doing this thing for ourselves. And then we can go on and share that with other people. And it becomes about your stories. It's not my story anymore. It's your stories and how you inspire others. So I just finished, for those of you that read the newsletter, I just finished setting up our fourth edition of the journal. And I was reading, I go through reading the finisher stories, and sometimes it blows my mind to hear how 52 has gone on to transform other people's lives. And these are stories that are just so deeply touching and personal and just deeply, deeply inspiring of the power and the healing power of nature, and also the empowerment that one goes to receive when they commit to something like this. So I can stand here 10 years later because we launched this in 2014 at the end as a kind of a mission to help people to get outside. And so 2015 was really the year that people started doing the 52 hike challenge. So now 2025 is a full circle 10 years later. And I think what I want to leave you with before I pass it on to you, because I want to hear from you, is just to know that your story matters. It doesn't have to be a worldwide movement, but by sharing your own stories and journeys with your friends, with your family, by taking them outside and telling them, like, hey, there's something that you can do when you're going through a hard day or a hard time. You're doing your part in this journey. we're all related, we're all connected. And my hope with 52 is that it helps people to be more compassionate and kind towards each other. That's a big part of our, we've gone on to grow to have over 40 chapters around the nation, and leaders. We have over 50 leaders. In fact, we have a couple here today. Um, and the mission is just, let's get people outside, because we're going to be kinder, more loving, and compassionate towards each other. Like, I want to build a community of people that we embrace all colors, all genders, and that truly, like, we are not separate from one another. So thank you so much for being here. Somewhere along the lines, I will stop and pause, and I will host two giveaways. I will be giving away 2 pairs of Obo's footwear shoe codes to one of you here, because I just want to, I want to share in the joy and celebration with you all. So with that, let's go ahead and hear from you all. We can, I'll go ahead and just call out a name, and if you feel you can pass, you can say pass. But I just want to hear from you. So I'm going to share my screen real quick, because I want to share these questions that I put together for today's call. And so here are some questions to think about. Let me know if you can see them. Can I see a thumbs up real quick? Because it's hard for me to make sure. It looks like yes. Okay, cool. So share, whatever's in your heart or on your heart, but what are some of your highlights from this year? What have you learned? Were there any struggles that you overcame? Maybe some of your wins, and or what's next? So you can share whatever's in your heart. Let's try to stick to maybe like 5 minutes max. And I will go ahead and start with Deborah. If you feel called to share, or just say pass and I'll call someone else. Oh, Deborah. Let's see. Deborah, we can't hear you. Looks like maybe Deborah might be having a couple of technical difficulties. So, yeah, Deborah, if you want, you can always pop in the chat and write something out. I'd love to hear your voice, but I don't know what happened there. We'll try again. All right, let's pop over to Lizbeth.
Can you put the questions back again?
Absolutely, sure. Let me.
So I can answer the questions.
Sure. Absolutely. Okay, let me put this in slideshow mode. There you go.
Okay, I did 56 outings this year. I learned that if you don't have a community, it is far more difficult to keep at it. So I'm always looking for a group. I struggle with health issues, especially because I have arthritis in different parts of my body. But I learned that you have to keep moving. If you sit down because of pain, then it will be worse. So have to keep moving. And I became all-rated Sierra Club leader this year. And the most beautiful thing that has happened is that I have started to volunteer using my hiking for volunteering. So I do trail maintenance. That's one. Probably the most busy that I am is doing trail maintenance. I also recently, the most recent one is beautiful, beautiful experience is hiking with visually impaired people. And this has been so heartwarming. I'm telling everybody about it because everybody should do something like this. It is not a high challenge physically. It is something so beautiful, so rewarding. It's probably the best thing that happened to me this year is hiking with visually impaired people. It is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I'm gonna go again on Saturday. Not this Saturday, Saturday the 20th. I'm going to go again with a group. Really, really nice. That's it. I really need to be connected. I really would like to. I joined 52 hike challenge to see if I can have a hiking buddy. But I am not on social media. Not at all. Probably go back slowly one day, but it has been a very good decision to withdraw from social media. But I miss things like this, like 52 hike challenge.
Thank you so much for your feedback and everything you shared. That's so beautiful, Lizbeth. And I'm very familiar with the Sierra Club. For those of you that are lucky enough to have a Sierra Club group, it's pretty worth checking out because I've made some amazing friends through that program. And Lizbeth, if you might put the information about hiking with the visually impaired, I think that would be deeply appreciated. And also, that gives me an idea, of course, maybe in the future, like just getting everyone together like this and continuing these conversations, they can build the relationships. So thank you so much, Lizbeth, I really appreciate your share and thank you for being here.
You welcome, and I am very happy I am.
All right, let's hear from Deborah if she's available to share.
Hi, take two can you hear me
Yay!
now?
Thumbs up,
Okay.
we got you.
I have my earbuds in and I forgot that when they're in, the speaker turns off. But yeah, I had a good year overall. I started later in the year. Um, and I was hiking 3 or 4 times a week up until I forget what month it was. It was a few months back. I got COVID and was out for total of about 6 weeks, maybe. And I did go outside a couple times during that time, but just to sit. But somehow that kind of got me off track, and I haven't been hiking consistently since then. Plus, the weather changed, so. Um, but I've been hiking with meetup groups and also on my own. And yeah, I like both. I especially like hiking on my own, to be honest. But it's nice to have company sometimes too, and I would love to have some friends to hike with. Um, you know, most of my friends aren't into hiking, so um, yeah, that's about it. I do plan to do it again. So, oh, I did have one question.
Yeah,
Um,
go ahead.
it I decided not to share my hikes on Instagram um, because I had so much trouble using it, figuring out how to get my picture on there and how to post to type stuff. And also, I'm a little hesitant too because most of my hikes were very local, and I didn't want to too much identify closely where I lived. Do you have any suggestions on those? Anyone?
I'll just chime in. It's not necessary to post. It does help to, share with your friends. I've heard a lot of challengers say, "Hey, when I posted that I was doing this, people started wanting to come out with me." It helps us to spread the word because this is still a very grassroots, small organization. It helps us from that perspective, but also we understand there's a lot of things going on. People are going off social, so I did a survey this year trying to figure out, like, is there something else? There wasn't a clear direction based off the answers. So, I think there is a desire for a lot of people though to connect. So that's kind of something, still trying to figure out, like, how do we connect more people? I think that's always been the question of how do we do that. But that's kind of my own 2 cents. If anyone else wants to pipe in, please do. This is a community. I welcome community in this.
Thanks.
Deborah, we can certainly, I'll put my handle in the chat, and then we can maybe connect there. I'd be happy to help you with your basic posting.
Oh,
I
thank you.
realized that, so I travel quite a bit, but I have found men are much more open with like posting their real-time location, but I'm pretty cautious about including my real-time location. Like I don't
Right.
I'm not, I don't want to say I'm a nobody, but I think that's an inherent little lady safety measure. But you can post your if you catch something beautiful in nature that you feel inclined to share, it's neat. And then you get to hashtag it with your accumulating hikes. And I know I think I did a couple bonus ones where I just didn't get around to posting it. And then I had to go back, and I felt like to keep them numbered, I was like, here's 52, or here's 40, and here's 41. But they weren't on the same day. But I would agree that I may not have picked up on the hike challenge existing had someone else not in my friend circle not shared it. So that's incentive. That was incentive enough for me to do that, along with sharing the many nature adventure things. So I'll add that, and anyone would be welcome to ping me, going, I struggle with this Instagram. If you just want a basic helper, I'm happy to do that. I don't know a lot.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
We appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
I have something to add to
Yes.
that. I think it was already suggested, but instead of putting the postings on your own Instagram, is put it on the 52 challenge page on Instagram or Facebook or whatever one of those. Instead of putting it in on your own, just share it as a closed group. Gives you a little bit more confidence and is less exposed to the general public, because you have to be a member to be on that page.
Correct. We also try to keep spammers out of the pages. So we do have an official group, and we have more local groups. If in a minute, I will go in when I can, and I will post the link to that in here in the chat. All right. Well, we've got a lot of folks here, so I want to try to get through as many as we can. So let's try to get Douglas next.
Hi, this is actually Teresa. Douglas is my son, and I'm using his computer.
Hi, Teresa. Welcome. Thanks so much.
So, I was really good. I got off to a really good start, and I was really good about posting, and I made it all the way to April 30th and my 27th hike. And then I got out of the habit of posting on Facebook and keeping track of my hikes. So I know I've done way more than 52 because I regularly walk with several different meetup groups, and then have forged some really meaningful friendships with some of the folks from those meetup groups. And we go on long weekend trips and week-long hiking trips all over the East Coast. So I've done quite a bit more than 52. I just haven't been good at tracking them, and I haven't figured out a way to kind of catch myself up with the postings to document it on social media. But I've really enjoyed the challenge, and I just thought, oh, 52 hikes, I can do that because I do that anyway. And I thought it would be a cool way for me to keep track of what I was doing, but then that sort of fell by the wayside. So, but we've done a lot of mountain hikes. We've done quite a few hikes that are like a 1,500 to 2,000 foot elevation gain, which are pretty challenging, especially here in the East with the humidity and the heat. You throw in 90-degree weather and 100% humidity, and those climbs can be can be really strenuous, but it's a lot of fun. And I do enjoy the community of just, of hiking with different people and meeting different people. And we've done a few cold weather hikes. We've had a blast of cold weather here. We've had 2 snowstorms in the last week, which is really unusual for Central Virginia. But we've been out hiking each week in the brutal cold weather. So anyway, it's a fun challenge. Gonna do it again next year. Hopefully I will be more consistent with keeping up with my postings and keeping track of things.
Thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. And I hope you've had fun. And with that, I'm going to take a pause and I'm going to pick, well, I'm going to pick someone here to be the first winner of the code that I'm giving out for some Oboz footwear. So it looks like I have to stop my share for a moment. There's 15 possible winners. Let me do my random number generator here. Pick a winner. Okay, who is it going to be? Who is it going to be? Let's see. Deborah, you won the first code for some Oboz footwear. If you can email me, hello@52hikechallenge.com, I will get that over to you. Congrats!
Thank you.
Yay!
Thank you. Hello at 52 challenge, right?
Yep.
Hike challenge.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you. That's
welcome.
very kind.
Thank you, Oboz. Yeah, they are awesome partner and sponsor, so really grateful. All right, let's move on because I know there's so many wonderful folks on here that want to share their stories. So Denise, if you'd like to share. Hey, welcome, Denise.
Hi, thank you for having me here. So excited to be a part of this. One of the, I started this journey at the beginning of last year. A friend of mine that I grew up with, we're from Southern West Virginia, and a friend of mine, I won't say that I grew up with her, and I'm going to say this because I'm 65, but she's 6 years older than me, but she is definitely my shero. And I will say also that in November, or I think October, she completed her hike in every state in the United States. Yes. And she also completed her 52 hike challenge in, I think, maybe October. And so she got me involved in this. And it has just been such a lovely, lovely, lovely experience for me. I realized a peace in those in the mountains with the water and the rocks that is very hard to be negative up there. And then when you have the right people hiking with you who don't really vibrate negativity, everything is sort of on a not religious but spiritual and good advice. And so it's been so positive for me. I completed my 52nd hike on my daughter's birthday, my daughter who's in heaven. And I chose that day for I paced myself so that that day would fall on that day. And so I was blessed to take that hike with my fiance. And while it could have been sad, I celebrated her. You'll see I celebrate her when I hike with my sunflower halo and all that kind of stuff because that's what she loves, sunflowers. So if you see me on the 52 hike page and I have on my sunflower halo on my head, that's honoring her. And so it's giving me an opportunity to celebrate her in a peaceful, loving way. And it's one of the few things that I've completed. I dib and dab in a lot of stuff. So it meant a whole lot to me to complete my 52nd hike. A lot of people didn't seem to think it was a big deal when I would post, but me personally, it was I was so proud of myself for completing something. And my mobility is better. I feel more balanced. the fact that I haven't hiked in a while because it's cold as everything here, I can tell the difference in my peace of mind. So I think I'm going back out Saturday, but bundled up. And so I really, 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 I think I'm gonna do my first one for 2026 on January 1st. And so I'm just really happy to be a part of this. Thank you guys so much thank you for what you're doing and how you um got this together. It's beautiful. And I haven't had a lot of bad challenges. It's even the challenges have been good because when we find we're part of this, we call ourselves Senior Souls. This is a group of women, and I end all of my hikes with boots on the ground, and that's my motto. That's my motto. It's not to it's to get those boots on the ground. So thank you, and I look forward to next year.
Thank you, Denise. That was so beautiful and heartfelt. And I wanted to add a couple notes. I am very blessed and grateful that I'm studying under an elder, and she is an earth like caretaker. And I actually hosted a hike here in New Mexico with an elder from a tribe here that they are the original caretakers of the land. And he said, when you go out into nature, the trees and the rocks, they are actually taking away from you all the pain. They are, so be nice, be grateful, because you don't realize what's actually happening underneath in that soil. And you can truly go out into Mother Nature and just release and let her take things away and turn them into something beautiful. There is actually something to that. So I think it's so beautiful that you also shared about your daughter, and she would want you to be celebrating. So thank you for that. Beautiful. Thank you. Frederica, let's get you on, sister.
See. Good evening. Oh, I love the 52 hike challenge. I love it. It does so much for me. I'm in Houston, so I hike with Houston Women's Hiking Group or with my pet. And with Houston Women's Hiking, we go out a lot. We go out a lot. It builds community. We get to bond with each other. And if we don't see each other for a minute, then we're wondering, are you okay? Is everything fine? Girl, it's so good to see you. So I'm on hike 90 as of yesterday. I'm marathon training, so it's kind of slowing me down with hiking. I like hiking more than running, but since I want to I want to run all over the US, so I'm going to combine my races with hiking. And I don't know how I'm gonna fit it in, but I can do it. I can do it. Because I just love to be in the woods, in the trees, with the solitude. And it also just builds confidence, and it helps you to like ease fears. Like I said, I go out a lot with my dog. So we're just out and we're trekking and we're listening to the trees, listening to the birds, and just breathing and exhaling. So one of my biggest wins was I hiked Guadalupe Peak. That's in Texas. That's the tallest peak in Texas. Oh my goodness, it was so challenging. But I love to take pictures. Pictures. I love nature pictures. I didn't even know I like nature pictures until I go back and I'm like, oh, that's so pretty. So that's my thing. This year, well, in February, I'm doing the Mammoth hike. So that's the 20-mile hike. I'm doing Texas, Mammoth hike, Texas. So I'm looking forward to that. I just feel so much stronger. just with doing the 52 hike challenge, I really appreciate it. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, Federica, for sharing your journey, and congrats on your training, and keep it up. Keep it up for sure. Thank you so much. All right, Hillary, welcome, Hillary. If you'd like to join and share your journey or anything you'd like to chime in.
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Good to be here. Thank you. This is my first year doing the 52 hike challenge. Last year I was looking for some kind of a fitness challenge to do. A friend of mine likes to run 5Ks, so she did like a 5K per month. I'm not a runner, but I like being outside. So I kind of Googled, like, I like hiking, and I Googled and found a 52 hike challenge, and I signed up, and I started hiking roughly every week and exploring some of the state parks around me. I live in central PA. Went to some of our local chapter hikes and met some folks. And I went on the retreat in New Mexico, which was amazing. And one of the challenges I overcame there was just being able to do those hikes, because I'm kind of new to hiking, and I wanted hiking to be something I can do as I age, and to kind of stay in shape. And I find being out in nature very restorative, so I kind of want to get in better shape for hiking. But I was able to do the hikes, and met some amazing people and saw some spectacular scenery. So that was really amazing. And I finished up with my 52nd hike on Thanksgiving Day this year. And I signed up for next year and just got my patches and stickers, and I'm looking forward to doing it again, and stretching myself to increase kind of miles and distance, and get even better and stronger, and see more beautiful spaces outdoors. So excited to be part of this community.
Thank you, Hillary. I appreciate your share. All right, let's go and see if Kate wants to share.
Hi, can you hear me?
We sure can.
Okay. So I've been hiking for a few years, and I have a friend who I met through a hiking group who said, "Oh, you should, document all your hikes and figure it out, because you've probably done 52 this year." Because I'm doing like 2 more hikes this weekend. So even if it's raining, I'm like, wait, I got to get outside. So Um, and we're supposed to have really kind of not great weather on Sunday, but we're gonna go out and do a hike anyway. But for those who maybe are looking for like somebody to go hiking with, because I don't like hiking by myself. Just have this fear of like what would happen. I mean, you can be all prepared, but I don't know. It's just me. So I tend to try to go with at least one other person, but I've met people through Facebook groups. But if you're not on Facebook, at least in Western North Carolina where I live, we have quite a few conservancies, or conservation groups. And if you join them, sometimes they often have hikes. So if you're looking for, somehow to get out with a group of people, maybe recommend that, because we have quite a few here. And some of them have their own challenges. If you're looking for places to go also, when you're just like, I don't know where to go, where to go hiking. But yeah, I mean, without support of, friends who I've met, I just really like to be outside. I love waterfalls, so it's it's also a good goal to have I also live in a place with a lot of waterfalls, so you just pick what you really like, if it's a summit thing or a view, it's just depends where you live, but Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kate, for your share and for your insight and for sharing those resources. It's absolutely there's so many wonderful organizations out there that host cleanups and events, and a lot of the conservancies, like you said, your local state parks usually have some sort of resource page where they have even docent-led hikes. So that's another option if you are looking for groups. And then, of course, someone else mentioned meetup.com. There's a lot of resources there. So thank you, Kate. Lori, would you like to share next?
Sure. So my hiking has was interrupted earlier this year. I have arthritis in my knees, and one knee got particularly bad. In fact, I'm right now recovering from knee replacement surgery a month ago. So my hiking is a little curtailed for until next year. Hopefully next month I can get started back to it on a slow basis. Um, and I live in a state where it's cold and it's snowy, and that makes it a challenge. And as I'm healing, that has to be a consideration for me, of not going out where it's risky to, I might fall or something and injure myself. So I've got to take that in mind right now. But I'm looking forward to getting back to hiking. I miss getting out. Like so many others have said, that connection with nature is so important. You just can't feel bad when you're out in nature. And as you mentioned, Carla, the elder, saying how it's like the trees and the rocks and everything, they kind of speak to us. You kind of feel a connection with them. If there's a certain place, maybe you go hiking on a regular basis and you get familiar with the trees and you know where you're at based on a certain tree that you see, you know where you're at on that particular path. And it's just this connection, this deep connection that I'll feel when I'm out hiking. Plus I'm a birder, so it's sometimes it's hard to hike and not just be moseying along birding, but that's part of the fun too, is just being out there. So I'm looking forward to getting back out.
Thank you, Lori. I wanted to add something that has just been added to this year's challenge as a guideline. We understand things happen, and there are very valid reasons why people can get off, their course, right? A big injury or something like that, illness, maybe, I'll leave it at that. So a new guideline is, if you really truly, it's not just like I fell off the wagon, I'm going to restart from where I was. It's like, no, like you actually had, that's the point of a goal, right? But if you had an injury or something, you can extend your challenge by that number of weeks, as long as you're intentional about it. So it's a guideline, of course. At the end of the day, this is everyone's journey. We're not going to say anything to anyone if, they decide to do their 52 however they feel like doing it. But, truly the point of this is, when you reach a goal, when you set that timeline for yourself, there's something powerful that happens. It's more than just saying you're going to do something. It like actually shows you how to reach certain milestones for yourself. So I did want to share that. And, it is so important as we are looking at aging and the importance of keeping moving. I can relate to some of the people that shared about their arthritis. I actually have a minor case of it. And I find that when I don't move, it seems like it's worse. So for me now, it's like I have to keep moving. I have to add strength training to everyone else to help with that, right? It's so important to keep the body going. So I think walking is super important. So we even allow people to, if you're walking in a nature setting for an hour, a mile, count it, count it. Like it doesn't have to be this mountain that you're doing every single hike. So thanks for sharing that. Let's move on. And I think we have Leslie next. Oh, okay. Someone has to leave. Thanks so much for being here. Leslie, would you like to share?
Yes, I was waiting for you to unmute me. This is my 5th year doing 52 Hike Challenge. Each year I've tried to do it twice, so not always have I succeeded. Right now, yesterday I did hike 102, and that was a 13-mile hike. I also, like Lisbeth, I am a Sierra Club 01 rated leader. And I hike, I'm in LA, I hike in the Santa Monica Mountains, Angeles National Forest. I love to go to the Sierras. I think I've hiked or snowshoed like 10 trips this year in the Sierras. Um, and I do hike alone. I do hike with Sierra Club. I hike with my dog. Um, if you are going to hike alone, I have a Garmin Mini InReach in case of an emergency. Um, and I just need it to mentally clear my mind. And I love being with nature. I love just looking at the beauty of it. I never get tired of it. And I track my hikes like on a Excel spreadsheet. I track the mileage, the elevation gain, who I went, where I went, to make it easier to go back and find hikes to do over again. And in addition to doing the 52 Hike Challenge, since 2021, I've also been doing something called 1,000 Mile Challenge. It's a charity challenge through charitymiles.org, and also run the year. And I don't count my running miles, I do my hiking miles for this. And I'm going to sign up again for next year and hopefully, do it twice. Every state has a Sierra Club chapter, but some are much more active than others. I'm lucky I'm in Southern California, and the Angeles chapter is one of the most active in the country. We have hundreds of hikes every year, so I'm really fortunate. And Elizabeth, get a hold of me and we'll go hike.
Love this. And as Leslie
I'm
said,
retired, but I will.
I'm retired too.
I know, I'm not.
Well, I was semi-retired, and now I'm about to, do the financial situations in this country, be totally retired.
well, the Sierra Club in Los Angeles, Orange County also has a fantastic program called WTC. I would highly
Yes.
recommend you look at that. And with that, I'm going to let's have
Yeah, I did WTC.
it's a great program.
Yeah.
Melissa, let's have you chime in.
Okay, chiming in. Hey y'all, Melissa from Minnesota. Hello. I am a 52 Hike Challenge Minnesota chapter leader. So we have a really great group here. And this was my 2nd year of completing the 52 Hike Challenge. And when I first signed up, I thought originally that I was signing up for a year of, exercise, right? Like I was going to be more active. But in the 2 years, it's so much more than that. Somewhere along the trail, it became a journey of intention and grounding and rediscovery. So each week, lacing up your boots, it just becomes a small act of choosing myself and choosing presence over hurry, sunlight over fluorescent lights, because I work a corporate job and that gets annoying, and curiosity over routine. And some hikes were expansive and breathtaking. Others were quick loops that I had to squeeze in because, I'm a mom and I have a job and I have all kinds of responsibilities, but every single one offered something that I needed in the moment. My motivation definitely didn't come from a number. It came from the moments, and that was quiet breaths in winter air, the crunch of frost underneath my feet, sudden bursts of color from a little red mushroom that kind of became a symbol in my ongoing creative series. Just those little things remind me often that beauty waits in the smallest places. And if you slow down long enough, you can see it. And there are days when I didn't feel strong or brave or particularly motivated, but then nature doesn't ask for perfection, right? And I'm a perfectionist at heart. I will share that. It only asks that you show up. And each time that I did, I left a little more aligned, a little more grateful, and a little more of myself. So finding the challenge wasn't about reaching that final hike. It was recognizing the journey had really rewoven pieces of me all together. That first year was more about healing, and this year is more about walking with steadier steps and a more open heart and a deeper appreciation for the thread that really does connect us back to earth and back to ourselves as a community. Like, that was the number one thing that drove me to say yes to this year as well, was building community, because I realized it is so important. No matter the age, no matter the ability, no matter the color of your skin, no matter the culture you have or the background, community is what we all need. And it is the one way that we can align to just be better humans. And I can't find a happier place than being outdoors to get there. So that's kind of my background. I was just proud to get out, and proud to join more groups as well, because I was very much a solo hiker for many, many years, a solo hiker. And I thought that was the only way, right? But I think there's just so much more to be found in community and the same. And you get more gifts than you may realize the more you do it.
Thank you, Melissa. And everyone, Melissa is one of the leaders in Minnesota, and her chapter is amazing. They do monthly hikes. Melissa's gone above and beyond. So I just want to personally thank you so much for your kindness and for your time and energy and everything you've done for that chapter. It is such an honor and just such a joy to witness. Thank you so much, Melissa. All right, let's go. Meek Savaris. I'm sorry, I'm not saying that correct, but would you like to pipe in?
Yeah, absolutely. My name's Mick. I so this is my first year doing the challenge also, and part of the reason why I had done it was because I have like a chronic pain condition, and I used to be someone who's very active. And last year I ended up having to have like an abdominal surgery, and I like the pain and everything around that just like totally destroyed like any kind of routines that I had, any kind of like any like adventurous kind of spirit that I had had up until that point. I used to be outside all the time. That kind of was something I was unable to do for a while. So in kind of like my recovery from that, it was always one of my goals to kind of get back into hiking and just being out in nature. And it really helped too that I ended up getting a dog back in May, which is around the time that I had started the challenge. So I'm usually a solo hiker, but I take my dog with me, and it's motivating. I adopted her, and they didn't know what kind of breed she was, and she ended up being a breed that just really needs a lot of energy. So she's also a great like accountability buddy. So I don't take her for a long walk, she's not very happy with me. So it just kind of worked out that way. But it was really great to find this challenge as just kind of something to motivate me. My sister is really into hiking. She like hikes a mountain like every other week. I don't know how she does it. And she kind of introduced me to the idea of like hiking for for patches. And where I live, there's not a lot of like local trails that have like patches associated with them. So this was like a really cool opportunity to still be able to do that and have sort of like that external motivation without there having to be like a geographical constraint with everything. So I had finished my 52nd hike, I think back in November. So I've continued to hike since then. It's been really amazing, and it's like the most active I've been in a really long time. I feel so much better. I feel like I'm capable of doing so much more than I felt like I've been capable of for a while. So it's just been a really cool, really cool experience to be able to have that.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm so glad to hear that your doggie has helped you to stay active and helping you with movement. And yeah, it's so inspiring. Thank you so much for being a part of the journey and sharing your story. We've got a few more. So I am going to do one more share, and then I'll do one more giveaway. And then after this share, we have two more people. And hopefully you guys can stay and I know it's almost an hour in, but we should be wrapping up shortly. So Suzanne, would you like to go and share your story?
Okay. Oh, hi everybody. So I'm new, and I started January 1st, 2025 with the first day hike. And then I stumbled across the 52 hike challenge, and I went and got myself a hiking book. I don't know where I got it. Maybe it was Amazon. But every weekend I do a hike. And I write, and I always put a picture in too on every page. So it's really been super fun. It's almost like going on vacation every weekend, a mini vacation. And I've tried bicycling and running and walking and stuff, but nothing comes close to hiking. I just really love it. So being out in nature, like everybody said, and it's just so gorgeous. Every weekend I'm in awe. I always try someplace new. I'm in Omaha, Nebraska. There's not a ton of places to hike around here, but turns out there is a lot of places. So we've got some great parks, and sometimes I go with my husband or my daughter or whoever, or sometimes I go by myself. But almost done. Like I mentioned before, I finished 49 last week, so I'm on 50, 51, and 52. I'll finish up at the end of the year. Haven't missed a single weekend yet. I'm really proud of myself, and just an inspiring group. So thank you for all your stories. I just, really think I found my thing.
Thank you so much for sharing. I really appreciate that.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. And just for everyone, it can be 52 times within 52 weeks. So however that works out for you, your schedule, the area you live in, the season, or once a week for a year is such a great way just to keep you like consistently getting out there. That's what I like to stick to, the once a week. If I ever look at my weekend, I'm like, oh my gosh, like this week I have not. It's like it helps me to just go, okay, because it happens to me too, right? Like there's some weeks where it's busy, there's a lot going on, or it gets really hot here. So I have to be very intentional now about going out at least at one time. And a lot of times I'll go out multiple times within a week, so it makes up. So thank you. By the way, I just pulled our winner, Mick. You won the next giveaway from Oboes. So email me hello@52hikechallenge.com and I will get you a code. Congratulations. And we have a couple more shares. And then we can wrap it up. So Terry is a leader with us, and he has been awesome in getting people outside and does a lot of other things. So I'm going to let him chime in here. Thanks so much, Terry.
Hold on. There we go. Can everyone hear me?
We can.
All right, great. Now my entry into 52 Hike Challenge may be different from a lot of people's. For decades, I had orthopedic issues that kept getting worse and worse. And I retired in 2013 and told my friends and colleagues that I was going to hike my way back to health, which seemed to be kind of counterintuitive because for years I had to wear a back belt, sometimes two back belts just to get through the days. And the best thing I did when I retired was join a hiking group. And things started to get better within 2 years. I actually was hired by the busiest state park in the state of Illinois to be one of their trail masters on a weekend part-time. Met a lot of wonderful people from all over the world and love being out in nature. And toward the end of 2016, well, actually September 2016, I injured a knee. It hasn't been the same since then. Because I was on pace for more than 200 days of hiking that year. But I ended up with like 153, which was my most. So I needed something to motivate me, keep me going, because I knew I wasn't going to be getting that many hikes all the time. Well, I found 52 Hike Challenge, and it was, even though I was still leading hikes at the time, it was a motivation that I needed. And because I'm I'm a list completer. My ex-wife called me the master of documentation because I document all my hikes, and but it's a good way to keep track of things. So this is my 11th year of documenting all my hikes, but only my 9th year of being in the 52 Hike Challenge, because the first year of it, I wasn't aware of it until I found it for 2017 at the end of 16. So after 7 years of hiking more than 100 times a year, my 2022 resolution was to actually hike fewer than 100 times a year, because I was having more orthopedic issues with my knees and ankles. So I like, I'll do more bike riding, I'll do more swimming. Now the bike riding didn't go, but the swimming did. And I find the older I get, I have to periodically redefine what constitutes success. Not giving up altogether. It's not like, well, I can't, I can't hike. I can't lead 13-mile hikes anymore, so I'll just stop. I can't do that. Now, if I do 4-mile hike, hey, I'm good. In fact, if I look at my average number of hikes, my average hike is probably just under 3 miles. But that's where I'm at. And if I was sitting around, I'd be worse than that. It's like you said, Carla, with arthritis and stuff. I'm better when I'm moving around, unless my back is so acute that I can't be out there. And I have vertigo issues too. So now I have to, watch where I am on the trails, and some trails that I used to love, I can't really hike anymore because, back in 2017, I had to make a 911 call on a death when I was leading a hike. And I don't want to be on the other end of that, being somebody that falls off one of the bluffs. So, I have to be smart about that. So I've slowed down a lot, but I still keep going. My personal goal, and I think this might be the last year for it, because I'm 72 years old, and I don't try. I have been able to hike more than one day for every year of my age. And of course, I'm a big list taker, so I've got this sheet where I keep track of my hikes, and I'm up to 71 now. So I'll hit my 72nd one, hopefully within the next few days, and so then I'll beat that and get 73 by the end of the year. And also for several years, I've hiked 52 different trails, and that's getting harder to do too. Like the one year I was out on crutches on December 29th, right in advance of a snowstorm, to get my 52nd different trail. So I can't do stupid stuff like that anymore. But for those people that are looking to find places to hike or people to hike with, if you can find a hiking club or walking group or something like that in your area, joining that hiking club the month I retired was absolutely the best thing I've done since I retired. No question about it. And that's even before I discovered 52 Hike Challenge, which keeps me going. So, and I will definitely do that. Being one of the co-leaders for the state helps me as much as it helps anybody else in the group. I think Bruce Underwood, the other co-leader for Illinois, and we've really helped build the group up with all the suggestions and help from Carla and Tiffany. They are just fantastic and really make things run. I'm a type of person, and I think most of the people I know are, that have to feel like they are making some kind of a difference and contributing in this world. After 38 years of being a teacher and helping shape students, that was my passion, that was my mission. And I still substitute teach. So I guess I can say I've been a teacher for half a century now, because I've been doing it every year since then. But leading hikes, or even just being active within the group helps. And Melissa, for Minnesota, I'm always seeing Minnesota having Eventbrite groups. You guys are doing a fantastic job. That's just, I would like to have a few more co-leaders for Illinois and different parts of the state. Issue I have is I have a long-term dating relationship, or long distance, and weekends are when we see each other. So it's kind of hard for me to lead weekend hikes, because I'm spending time with Lori, and she and I hike, but she doesn't like groups of people. She's more introverted. But anyway, I guess I wanted to say one other thing about documenting my hikes, because I'm getting old, and hopefully my mind's not getting as feeble as my body, but sometimes I think it is. I document all my hikes, just not just on a spreadsheet like somebody else mentioned, but I have a Google photo album, and I do either a photo or a collage. And for every year, I've got one of those albums, and it kind of helps me to go through, look things like, oh yeah, that was a nice memory, or gosh, when was the last time I hiked with my sister from Iowa, and oh my gosh, it's been 2 years or whatever. It's a fun way to keep track of things and look at it. And I think I'll stop. I'm just rambling.
Thank you, Terry. That's a great idea, is like taking a photo of each of your hike and then being able to replay the video at the end. But thank you, Terry, for your leadership, your share, and for being a part of the journey. And I've seen the people that show up to your hikes, and it's just awesome to see people of all backgrounds show up. And thank you. We really appreciate you. Thank you. Tiffany, let's hear from you.
Right. So my background is that I've been a Cub Scout leader for both of my two sons. So I've been teaching kids to not only build their friendships, but gain confidence in being outside. So I've learned a lot of just general first aid, safety thoughts and skills. One of them came in very good handy or good use yesterday. Was I went on a hike during a clipper, like a storm clipper. So I'm in Minneapolis, and it was snowing a lot, and I'll touch on what motivated me beyond, but I had to remember like all the different layers you have to put on to be safe, and just put on some really tall boots and go out for a hike. But so if my boots are like this tall, like mid calf, like it was just below the fur of snow. So I'm trudging through that. But I started the challenge because my friend Jenny had posted on social media, so Instagram, that she was doing the challenge and she was finishing it. And it was around this time last year. And I'm kind of going through it now, and Melissa knows because it took me a while to write up my response, and it came up when I was submitting or working to submit my 52 hike completion questionnaire. And I realized that I'm still healing from grieving a friend and colleague who passed away. And my very first hike was just before my birthday. And I looked back at it and it was like, it felt very urgent to take the last hike and see the sunset of my 43 now? My 42nd year day. And the next day I found out she was going into hospice, which was on my birthday, which was such a bummer. But I ended up being surrounded by friends, and it was really important. But with the hike challenge, I found that when I'd have those big feelings you don't know what to do with, and you just literally want to run out the door because you don't know what to do with them. It gave me a goal and an outlet and a place where I could have peace. No screens unless I wanted them. No music unless I wanted it. And then when you shared about nature kind of pulling that, out of you, it continued to be that place where most of my hikes were only a mile, and they might have just been in my neighborhood. We have this very convenient park, which is a nature reserve. And I've been gifted with not only peace, but also just natural beauty, like amazing deer I've never seen. I've never been so close to coyotes that didn't even notice I was there. Everything was safe. They're more scared of me than I am, of them. But I wouldn't have seen those things had I not done this challenge. And then on top of continuing to use this as just like a emotional like leveler and repository. I travel quite a bit. I volunteer a lot. I'm a mom. I work full time. I do side hustles, so different events. So me sharing this in my volunteer efforts, I really want it to seem accessible. Like, oh, she's doing all and she's hiking. I think I need to stress like, hey, folks, it's just like a mile walk. Sometimes it was on the streets of Philadelphia with friends. Sometimes when I was super lucky, it was on a beach. But I was motivated to find different hiking opportunities as I traveled, or even just go walk around a neighborhood that I've never been in and see how it was different or the same, making sure I got at least a mile in, if not longer. But there were so many new things that I was exposed to this year because of my first hike challenge. And I'm so grateful for it. And I shared with Melissa that I'm really excited to continue to share this so that people might have those same benefits, even if it was just one. I experienced like weight loss because I think I would go hiking before or after dinner, and that's like a really good time, I guess, for your metabolism. So I was like, what a like a super extra benefit. So I would really like to give back to other people and spread the word, and I will do my best as I wrap up this year and into next year. So thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Tiffany. It's been really nice to see your challenge, and thank you for sharing the personal and just, yeah, absolutely. Nature gives us a space to process grief and to process our emotions, and that's really important. And I want to continue to encourage people to let that space be in the outdoors, because it truly is a space that allows that stuff to come up that if you bottle that in, it turns into something that can make you sick, and also can come out in ways with others that we love and care about when we don't mean to. So it's important to let it out somewhere. Let Earth be the place. So thank you for sharing your story. Thank you, everyone. I don't think I missed anyone, but if I did, this is the chance for you to speak up or add any last few cents. I do want to give everyone back the time. And before I close out, myself personally, thank you so much for sharing and being here, being a part of this. It is truly a joy and a gift. And also, yeah, if you want to support us, please share the challenge with your friends, family, colleagues. That's how people hear about us. And we have a lot of free resources. I try my best to, there's a podcast now where I share videos with information, just to help people continue to get out there, to be adventurous. As Tiffany mentioned, if you're traveling, hey, where's my local walking trail? And it doesn't have to take a lot. Walks after your food, or when you're taking a break from work, go and walk in your neighborhood. It will literally change your brain chemistry, and it resets you, and it's so important. So don't underestimate the power of just getting outside and taking a small little break, and even if it's a 5-10 minute walk. So
I have one person on here, I
Yep.
think. I just don't want to miss her. Linda. I don't know if you can unmute yourself. I hope she's there.
I just asked Linda to unmute.
Oh,
okay. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Oh, did you want me to? Okay. I started hiking in 2020 during COVID. I was bored out of my mind sitting at home. And then I just started to reach out to different hiking groups. In Minnesota, we have women who hike, and I actually lead hikes on that one. And I kind of cater to people just starting out or fearful of hiking with others or strangers and things like that. So I've enjoyed doing that for the last 3, 4 years. And then I noticed on Facebook 52-week challenge, and I thought, geez, I can do that. I'm out quite a bit, and it just motivated me to actually leave the state of Minnesota and hike in other areas. So this past year, Melissa's probably seen my post. I have gone to the Appalachian Trail and did a segment in North Carolina. I also hiked with a friend at Yosemite this past fall. And then we used to live in Reno, Nevada years ago. So I go out there every either spring or fall and hike with her, a friend of mine's group. And so we did some like 2,000 feet gains type hikes. And my last big challenge hike was in Greenland in August. My husband does not hike. He is quite a bit older than I am, but I put him in a bar and said, I'm going to go hike that mountain. And I did. So I also am retired and I do substitute teach as well. There's an elementary school in our district that has a nature-based preschool. So these are 3 and 4-year-olds, and we are taking them out hiking. They're very lucky at the school. They do have a nature center right behind the school. So we're taking these little ones out in Minnesota, cold weather, and we hike generally anyway to anywhere from a half a mile to 2 miles. And some people say, how can you take those kids out in below zero? Believe me, they are dressed better than we are for this kind of preschool. So anyway, thanks for all the motivation. I want to thank Melissa. She runs a wonderful group out here. And I look forward to going out on our monthly hikes next year. Hopefully I'm home. So anyway, great. Have a great holiday season and a happy new year.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you so much. And for those of you hiking in the winter, it's having the right gear. I will say every time I put on my gear when I think it's too cold, I never regret it. In fact, this morning I knew I needed to get out for a hike. I put on my warm layers and I was surprised. There was a bright sun that actually I was way more overdressed than I needed to be, but I never regret it. It was windy. It was beautiful. I never regret it, no matter how cold it is out there. Just once you start moving and get past that initial shock, or even the mental part of like, oh man, it's cold out there. Once you get that blood flow going, it changes you. So, yeah, thank you so much. Happy holidays, everyone. We'll see you in 2026. We do have a kickoff meeting. I will send that in the newsletter, so keep an eye out. And we're going to discuss everything that you need to get ready for your year of hiking. So I'll see you there. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. Have a beautiful evening. See you on the trails,
Bye,
everyone.
everyone.
Bye.
Be safe.